The sterile white corridors of the Galactic Academy's Xenobiology wing hummed with the steady thrum of air recyclers. Commander ZH Carr, a towering Velcrin with iridescent purple skin and 4 analytical eyes, stood before a holographic display that rotated slowly, showing a blue and green marble suspended in the darkness of space. Earth. Behind him, 23 cadets from 17 different species sat in ascending rows, their various appendages tapping nervously on datapads or fidgeting with translator implants. This was Advanced Xenobiology 401, Deathworld Species Analysis, and today's subject had already caused 3 students to request medical leave. Attention, ZH Carr's voice resonated through the chamber, automatically translated into each cadet's native language. What you are about to witness may disturb you. The species we're studying today, Homo sapiens, originates from a Class 12 death world. For context, only 0.03% of sentient species evolve on worlds rated above Class 8. A Quilnari student, her crystalline body refracting the hologram's light into rainbow patterns, raised a delicate limb. Commander, the file says humans are currently considered for Galactic Council membership. Surely that's an error? ZH Carr's primary eyes narrowed while his secondary pair focused on the student. Cadet Shimmertel, I assure you, no error exists. Despite originating from a world that would kill most of us within hours, humans have not only survived but thrived. Today, you will learn why the Council fears them, respects them, and desperately wants them as allies rather than enemies. He gestured, and the hologram shifted to show Earth's surface, massive storm systems swirling over oceans, tectonic plates grinding against each other, volcanic eruptions spewing ash into the atmosphere. Earth rotates at 1,000 miles per hour at its equator. Its gravity is 1.5 times galactic standard. It harbors millions of microbial species, thousands of which can kill a human in days. Its atmosphere contains 21% oxygen, enough to cause cellular damage over time, and its weather systems regularly produce phenomena that would classify as natural disasters on most civilized worlds. A Bronthy cadet, his 6 legs shuffling anxiously, spoke up. Then how did they evolve intelligence? Wouldn't survival take all their resources? An excellent question, Cadet Thruman AK. The answer lies in what makes humans truly dangerous. ZH Carr pulled up footage from humanity's first contact with the galactic community, 5 Earth years prior. The video showed a human vessel, primitive by galactic standards but functional, limping into the outer edges of Velcrin space. The ship was damaged, trailing plasma from a breach in its hull. When the Velcrin rescue team boarded, they found the crew of 7 still alive, still working, despite the fact that the ship's life support had been failing for 3 standard days. The rescue team reported finding the humans in near-total darkness, temperatures below their optimal range, and oxygen levels at 60% of normal. By all metrics, they should have been unconscious or dead. The footage continued. A human female, her face covered in dried blood from a head wound, smiled at the Velcrin medic who approached her. She was speaking, and the translator provided subtitles. Hey, you guys are a sight for sore eyes. Don't suppose you have any coffee on that fancy ship of yours? Several cadets gasped. Shimmertel's light patterns flickered with confusion. She's joking? While injured? Precisely, ZH Carr said, freezing the image on the human's grin. This is what we call gallows humor, one of humanity's most baffling psychological adaptations. They make jokes when facing death. They laugh at pain. They find amusement in their own mortality. He pulled up another video, this one showing a human male in what appeared to be a recreational activity. The human was suspended by a rope, hanging from a vertical rock face hundreds of meters above the ground. His hands were covered in white powder, gripping tiny crevices in the stone. This human is engaging in what they call free solo climbing, ascending a cliff face with no safety equipment beyond friction-enhancing powder. For fun. For recreation. That's insane, whispered a Telnari cadet, her antennae drooping. Is it? ZH-Car challenged. Or is it a logical extension of a species that had to outthink predators with better claws, outrun hunters with better speed, and outlast environments with better natural defenses? Humans evolved persistence hunting. They would chase prey for days until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. Their bodies are designed for endurance, not sprint speed. They can regulate temperature through water secretion across their entire skin surface. They can consume a wider variety of organic matter than any other sentient species. And most remarkably, he pulled up a medical scan of a human skeleton. They have an internal skeletal structure that allows them to take tremendous impact damage and survive. Broken bones heal stronger than before. Torn muscles regrow denser. Their immune system keeps a memory of every pathogen it encounters, building defenses for an entire lifetime. The commander walked to the center of the room, his presence commanding attention. But their greatest advantage isn't physical. It's psychological. Humans possess what they call stubbornness, an irrational refusal to accept defeat even when defeat is logical. Another video appeared. This one was from a human military operation during their pre-contact era. A soldier with severe leg injuries was dragging himself across hostile terrain, carrying a wounded comrade on his back. The translator picked up his words, "Come on, Martinez, we're almost there. Just keep breathing, brother. I didn't carry your heavy ass this far to let you die now." The soldier was bleeding. His leg was clearly broken. Yet he was joking with his unconscious companion, talking to keep himself focused, refusing to stop. This footage was recovered from his helmet camera. He dragged Soldier Martinez for 11 kilometers before reaching friendly forces. Both survived. The classroom was silent except for the ambient hum of the ventilation system. ZH-Car let the weight of that information settle over his students. 3 months ago, he continued, the Council approved the Human Integration Program. 50 humans have been selected to attend the Galactic Academy across various disciplines. 20 of them are in this facility, beginning their orientation today. A ripple of alarm spread through the cadets. Shimmertel's crystalline structure actually cracked slightly, emitting a high-pitched tone of distress. They're here? Deathworlders are in this facility? They are. And before you panic, understand this: humans have passed every psychological evaluation. They are not violent by nature, their aggression is highly contextual and controlled. They form strong emotional bonds with other species. They are curious, adaptable, and eager to learn. But they are also survivors, and you will see behaviors from them that seem illogical or disturbing. ZH-Car's 4 eyes scanned the room, meeting the gazes of each cadet. Your assignment for the next 6 months is simple: learn from them. Work with them. Understand them. Because whether we like it or not, humanity is entering the galactic stage, and we need to understand what drives a species that laughs while bleeding. He dismissed the class, watching as his students filed out with nervous energy. Most were already pulling up additional files on humans, trying to prepare themselves for what was coming. What ZH-Car didn't tell them was that the real education would begin tomorrow, when they met the human cadets face to face. No amount of video footage or data could prepare someone for the sheer, overwhelming presence of a Deathworlder who smiled at danger. Across the facility, in the newly designated human quarters, Lieutenant Sarah Chen sat cross-legged on her bunk, reviewing her own briefing materials about the various alien species she'd be working with. The accommodations were sterile. Clean, functional, but utterly devoid of the personal touches humans craved. No windows showing real sky, just viewscreens displaying pleasant landscapes. No plants. No art beyond generic geometric patterns. "This place has all the warmth of a hospital waiting room," muttered Corporal James Mitchell from the bunk across from her. He was a broad-shouldered man from Texas, his accent thick and comforting. "Think they'd mind if we hung up some posters?" Sarah smiled. "Let's wait until we're not the scary Deathworlders before we start redecorating." She scrolled through profiles of species. Velcrin, logical, analytical, four-eyed. Quilnari, crystalline, sensitive to emotional resonance. Bronthi, herbivorous, communal decision-makers. Telnari, insectoid, highly organized. They're all terrified of us, you know, James said, his tone matter-of-fact rather than boastful. Read the orientation brief. Half the species here evolved on garden worlds where the biggest threat was a mild storm or a fruit shortage. Can you blame them? Sarah closed her datapad and looked at him. Imagine if the situation were reversed. If we grew up on some paradise planet and suddenly aliens showed up from a world where the atmosphere was poison and the wildlife could tear you apart. Fair point. James pulled out a protein bar from his personal supplies, real Earth food, not the synthesized nutrition paste the facility provided. Still, gonna be weird being the monsters in someone else's story. A knock at the door interrupted them. It was gentle, almost hesitant. Sarah stood and opened it to find a Velcrin officer standing there, his purple skin slightly paler than the pictures she'd seen. Lieutenant Chen, Corporal Mitchell, he said, his translator rendering his speech in accented English. I am Medical Officer Ralvek. I'm here to conduct your final health screening before tomorrow's orientation. Come in, Sarah said warmly, stepping aside. She noticed how Ralvek's secondary eyes tracked her movements while his primary pair focused on his medical scanner. Watching for threats, she realized. He was analyzing her the way she might analyze a potentially dangerous animal. The thought amused her, and she smiled. Ralvek flinched. Sorry, Sarah said immediately, schooling her features. Didn't mean to startle you. Your dental display, Ralvek said carefully. It is a threat behavior, yes? No, actually. Showing teeth can be aggressive, but smiling, which is what I was doing, is a sign of friendliness. Happiness. Peaceful intent. She demonstrated again, slowly, keeping her body language open and relaxed. Ralvek's scanner beeped softly as he processed this information. Fascinating. A species that bears weapons as a greeting. He approached slowly, holding up his scanner. May I proceed with the examination? Of course. The scanning process was quick and non-invasive, just a handheld device passing over her body collecting biometric data. But Sarah could see the readings on the display, and she watched Ralvek's reaction as the numbers populated. Your resting heart rate is, this cannot be correct. He tapped the device. 68 beats per standard minute. Your blood pressure, bone density, muscle-to-fat ratio, these are combat readings. Are you currently experiencing stress? No, this is normal for me, Sarah explained. I work out regularly, but I'm not even in peak condition compared to some of the other humans here. Ralvek's four eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep confusion she'd learned from her briefing materials. Lieutenant, these numbers indicate your body is constantly prepared for extreme physical exertion or combat. On my world, such readings would only occur during mating challenges or territorial disputes. James laughed from his bunk. Doc, wait till you see us during actual PT. This is us relaxed. The medical officer turned to scan James next, and his reaction was even more pronounced. You are carrying 32% more muscle mass than your frame should theoretically support without cardiovascular strain. How is this possible? Grew up on a ranch, James said with a shrug. Lots of heavy lifting. And I like to stay in shape. But the energy requirements alone, Ralvek's translator struggled to keep up with his rapid speech. Your species must consume enormous quantities of nutrition to maintain such physiology. Well, compared to what? Sarah asked. What's normal caloric intake for a Velcrin? Approximately 1,000 standard calories per day. We are efficient processors of nutrients. Sarah and James exchanged glances. I eat about 2,500 calories a day, Sarah said. James probably closer to 3,000. 3,500 on training days, James added helpfully. Ralvek made a sound that didn't translate, something between a whistle and a groan. You consume enough resources to sustain 3 Velcrin. And you consider this normal? Deathworld, Sarah said gently. Everything costs more energy on Earth. Moving through higher gravity, maintaining body temperature in variable conditions, fighting off constant microbial invasion. Our bodies are expensive to run, but they're built to last. The medical officer finished his scans in silence, clearly processing what he was learning. Before he left, he paused at the door. Lieutenant, Corporal, tomorrow you will meet the other cadets. Many of them are apprehensive about your presence. I want you to know that this fear is not personal. It is simply that you represent something beyond their experience. We understand, Sarah said. And we'll do our best to be good ambassadors for humanity. After Ralvek left, James looked at her. Think they'll ever see us as anything besides dangerous? Sarah thought about it, remembering something her grandfather had told her before she left Earth. He'd been a diplomat during the early contact period, one of the first humans to work with the Galactic Council. Grandpa Joe told me something before I shipped out, she said. He said the galaxy doesn't fear humans because we're strong. They fear us because we don't know when to quit. Every other species has a logical breaking point. When the math says survival is impossible, they accept it. But humans? We rewrite the equation. We find a way, or we make one. She looked at the datapad showing profiles of species who had never known real hunger, real danger, real desperation. Tomorrow, we start showing them that the same stubbornness that makes us dangerous also makes us the best friends they could ask for. Because if a human decides to protect something, the universe itself has to move out of the way. James grinned. No pressure then. None at all, Sarah agreed, settling back onto her bunk. Outside their window, real or simulated, she couldn't tell, stars wheeled slowly past, representing thousands of civilizations that were about to learn what humanity brought to the galactic table. She just hoped they were ready. The main training hall of the Galactic Academy stretched 300 meters in length, its ceiling a transparent dome showing the star-filled void beyond. Dawn, artificially simulated to match Galactic Standard Time, painted the assembled cadets in pale blue light. Sarah Chen stood in formation with the 19 other human cadets, acutely aware of every alien eye tracking their movements. They'd been instructed to wear their Earth military dress uniforms for the opening ceremony, and now she understood why. The Council wanted the other species to see humans as professional, disciplined, civilized, not the savage Deathworlders their imaginations had conjured. Beside her, James Mitchell stood at perfect attention, his Texas upbringing translated into military bearing. To her left was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a xenobiologist from Kyoto whose slight frame belied a mind that had already published 3 papers on extremophile organisms. Behind them, she could hear the quiet breathing of Marcus Webb, a combat medic from London who'd volunteered for the program specifically to learn alien medical techniques. Across the ceremonial space, separated by a carefully calculated distance, stood 236 alien cadets representing 47 species. The Velcrin contingent occupied the front rows, their purple forms perfectly still. Quilnari cadets refracted light into prismatic patterns, their crystalline bodies humming at frequencies just below human hearing. The Bronthi clustered together, their 6-legged forms creating a living carpet of gray and brown. Telnari antennae twitched nervously, and a group of Phosian cadets, beings of concentrated light energy contained in photonic shells, pulsed with what Sarah's briefing materials had described as apprehensive wavelengths. Commander ZHKar stood at the center of the hall, his 4 eyes somehow managing to observe every individual simultaneously. Behind him, a holographic representation of the Galactic Council seal rotated slowly, a complex geometric pattern representing the unity of thousands of worlds. Cadets, ZHKar's voice resonated through the chamber, today marks a historic moment. For the first time in 4,000 standard years, we welcome a species from a Class 12 Deathworld into the Academy's training program. His primary eyes fixed on the human formation. I will not minimize the significance of this moment, nor will I pretend there are no concerns. Integration between radically different species is never simple. Sarah felt the weight of those words. This wasn't just about military training or cultural exchange. This was first contact on a personal level, the beginning of understanding between species separated by millions of years of evolution. Therefore, ZH continued, we will begin with a demonstration. Humans, please send forward one representative. Velcrin, Cadet Shimmertel of the Quilnari, please step forward. Sarah felt James tense beside her, but before she could move, Dr. Tanaka stepped forward smoothly. The xenobiologist walked to the center of the hall with confident grace, stopping exactly at the designated mark. Across from her, Shimmertel floated forward. Quilnari didn't walk so much as glide, their crystalline bodies operating on principles Sarah didn't fully understand. Dr. Tanaka, ZH said, please explain your planet's gravity and how it affects your physiology. Yuki bowed slightly, a gesture of respect from her culture that coincidentally matched several alien species' non-threatening postures. Earth's gravity is approximately 9.8 meters per second squared, or 1.5 times galactic standard. From birth, every human grows in an environment where simply standing requires significant muscular effort. Our bones develop denser calcium structures. Our cardiovascular system must work harder to pump blood against gravity's pull. Our muscles are in constant tension just to maintain upright posture. She paused, letting the translation software catch up for species with different time perception. This means that in this facility, where gravity is set to galactic standard, I am constantly working at roughly 65% of my normal physical load. What feels natural to you feels light to me. Not uncomfortably so, she added quickly, seeing several aliens recoil, just different. Cadet Shimmertel, ZH addressed the Quilnari, please describe your homeworld's environment. The crystalline being's voice came through the translator as a series of musical tones. Quilnar is a low-gravity moon orbiting a gas giant. Our atmosphere is 0.72 galactic standard pressure, rich in noble gases. Temperature variation is minimal, never more than 5 degrees across our entire world. We evolved in stable, predictable conditions. Our bodies are efficient but fragile. Increased gravity causes structural stress to our crystalline matrix. Rapid temperature changes can cause fracturing. Thank you both. ZH gestured, and a holographic display appeared between the two cadets. It showed two planets side by side, Earth and Quilnar. These worlds are so different that, logically, species from each should find the other's environment immediately lethal. Yet here you stand together, both breathing, both alive. Why? Yuki smiled gently, carefully, remembering the earlier incident. Technology. Understanding. Adaptation. This facility is climate-controlled, gravity-adjusted, atmospherically balanced. We meet in the middle, in neutral space where neither of us has an advantage. Correct, ZH said. And this principle extends to all interaction between species. We accommodate, we adjust, we find common ground. Dr. Tanaka, would you be willing to demonstrate human adaptability? Of course, Commander. ZH gestured, and a section of the floor rose up, forming a raised platform about waist height to Yuki. On top of it sat a standard galactic ration cube, a compressed block of nutrients that provided complete nutrition for most species. This ration contains proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, vitamins, and minerals balanced for optimal Velcrin consumption, ZH explained. Dr. Tanaka, your species has a reputation for consuming a wider variety of organic matter than any other sentient species. Can you safely ingest this? Yuki picked up the cube, examining it. May I scan it first? I'm a scientist, Commander, not a stunt performer. Several alien cadets made sounds that the translator marked as amusement, and Sarah felt a small surge of pride. Yuki was showing them that humans had humor, that they approached unknowns methodically. Using her personal scanner, Yuki analyzed the composition. Protein structure is based on left-handed amino acids, compatible with human digestion. Carbohydrates are simple polysaccharides, we can metabolize those. No obvious toxins, though the mineral balance is off for human needs. Higher selenium than we'd prefer, but not dangerous in small quantities. She took a bite. The reaction from the alien cadets was immediate. Gasps, chittering, crystalline ringing, and bioluminescent pulses of shock. To them, what Yuki had just done was equivalent to a human watching an alien drink industrial solvent. "It's not great," Yuki said honestly, chewing. "Texture is like sawdust mixed with chalk, and it has an aftertaste like licking a battery. But it's nutritious and won't harm me." Humans evolved as omnivores with highly acidic stomach environments. We can eat a remarkable range of substances. On Earth, we consume everything from insects to fungi to fermented plant matter to animal organs. Shimmertel's crystalline structure was pulsing with rapid color changes that Sarah's datapad translated as profound confusion. "You eat other organisms? Not just processed nutrients?" "Most species in this room evolved from predators or prey," Yuki explained gently. "Humans are persistence predators. We evolved eating meat and plants in their natural form. Yes, we process and cook food now, but our digestive system is designed to handle raw, complex organic matter. It's actually one of our advantages. If I were stranded on an unexplored planet, I could likely find something edible within hours. Can you say the same?" The question wasn't aggressive, but it landed like a hammer. Sarah saw understanding ripple through the alien cadets. Humans weren't just physically robust, they were biochemically versatile. "Now," ZH said, "Cadet Shimmertel, please demonstrate your species' primary ability." The Quilnari floated higher, and suddenly the air filled with harmonics. It wasn't just sound, it was something deeper, resonating at multiple frequencies simultaneously. Sarah felt it in her chest, in her bones, a sensation both beautiful and slightly unsettling. The holographic display shifted, responding to Shimmertel's frequencies. Complex mathematical equations appeared, then three-dimensional molecular structures, then what looked like star maps, all controlled entirely by the Quilnari's resonance. Quilnari are natural resonance manipulators, ZH explained as Shimmertel's demonstration continued. They can interface with most electronic systems through harmonic frequency alone. They are prized as communication specialists and data analysts. Their ability to perceive and manipulate wave patterns makes them exceptional scientists. Shimmertel settled back down, her light patterns shifting to something Sarah's datapad marked as pride mixed with exhaustion. "Dr. Tanaka," ZH said, "could you do what Cadet Shimmertel just did?" "No, Commander. My species lacks that biological capability." "And Cadet Shimmertel, could you consume the ration cube as Dr. Tanaka did?" "No, Commander. It would poison my crystalline matrix." "Precisely." ZH 4 eyes swept across the assembled cadets. Every species brings unique capabilities and limitations. The Quilnari's resonance abilities are remarkable, but they cannot survive physical trauma that a human would barely notice. Humans can endure conditions that would kill most species here, but they cannot naturally interface with technology as Quilnari do. The Bronthi can process information collectively, sharing thoughts across their herd. The Telnari can survive in vacuum for short periods. The Phosians can exist as pure energy. He paused, letting that sink in. The purpose of this academy is not to make you all the same. It is to teach you to work together, to combine your strengths and compensate for each other's weaknesses. A human and a Quilnari working together can achieve what neither could alone. ZH gestured, and both Yuki and Shimmertel returned to their formations. Your first assignment will test this principle. You will be divided into mixed species teams of 5. Each team will include at least one human and at least 3 other species. Over the next week, you will complete a survival scenario in our holographic training environment. The scenario will be randomized, ensuring that no one's homeworld provides an advantage. A murmur ran through the alien cadets, nervous, uncertain. The humans remained quiet, but Sarah could see the calculation in their eyes. They were already thinking tactically, planning for unknowns. Team assignments will be posted within the hour. You are dismissed to prepare. Remember, the galaxy is vast and dangerous. Alone, each of you is remarkable. Together, you are unstoppable. The cadets broke formation, and Sarah watched as the groups naturally separated, aliens clustering together, humans gravitating toward each other. It would take time to bridge that gap. Lieutenant Chen. Sarah turned to find a Velcrin cadet approaching cautiously. This one was younger than Commander HFY, his purple skin more vibrant. His translator badge identified him as Cadet Vexlin. Yes, Cadet? I read your file, Vexlin said, his 4 eyes focusing on her with unnerving intensity. You commanded a rescue operation in Earth's Antarctic region. -40 degrees, sustained winds, 0 visibility. You and your team recovered 7 researchers from a damaged facility. That's correct, Sarah confirmed, unsure where this was going. The report said you walked 18 kilometers through the storm carrying an injured researcher on your back. That you maintained consciousness and decision-making capability throughout. That you made jokes to keep morale high. Also correct. Vexlin was quiet for a moment, processing. I am from Velcrin Prime. Our most extreme weather is what you would call partly cloudy. I have never experienced physical hardship beyond academic stress. I read about your world, about humans, and I. He paused, searching for words. I am assigned to your team for the survival scenario. I am terrified. Sarah felt a surge of empathy for this young alien, facing fears that were completely foreign to her experience. She'd grown up with danger, with challenge, with the understanding that the universe was hostile and survival took effort. For Vexlin, this was new territory. Can I tell you a secret? She asked quietly. Vexlin's secondary eyes widened. Yes? Every human here is also terrified. We're light years from home, surrounded by species we barely understand, trying not to accidentally offend or frighten people who could become our friends. We're all scared, Vexlin. The difference is, humans have learned to function while scared. She gestured around the hall. On Earth, being scared is normal. Fear is just information, it tells you to be careful, to stay alert, to work together. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. But you walked through that storm, Vexlin said. How is that not courage overcoming fear? Sarah smiled, carefully, keeping it warm rather than threatening. It wasn't courage. It was stubbornness. 7 people needed help, and I was the person who could provide it, so I did. Was I scared? Absolutely. Was I in pain? God, yes. But neither of those things changed what needed to be done. She met his alien gaze. During the survival scenario, you're going to see humans do things that seem crazy. We're going to laugh when we get hurt. We're going to crack jokes in dangerous situations. We're going to make decisions that seem illogical. But I promise you, it's not because we're fearless or stupid. It's because we've learned that fear and pain don't have to stop us. They're just part of the equation. Vexlin was silent, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Finally, he said, I think I understand. You do not conquer fear. You carry it with you and act anyway. Exactly, Sarah said. And here's the thing, you're about to learn that you're capable of more than you think. The galaxy isn't as safe as your homeworld, and now you're training to operate in that galaxy. You'll discover strengths you didn't know you had. And if I fail? If I cannot keep up with human endurance? Sarah put a hand on his shoulder, gently, aware that her strength could hurt him. Then we adapt. That's what teams do. You bring things to the table that I can't match. Your analytical thinking, your four-dimensional vision, your cultural knowledge. We don't need you to be human. We need you to be the best Velcrin you can be, and we'll fill in the gaps for each other. Vexlin's skin shifted to a slightly warmer purple. Satisfaction, Sarah's datapad indicated. I will try, Lieutenant. And, thank you for not treating my fear as foolishness. Never, Sarah said firmly. Fear keeps you alive. Respecting fear is the smartest thing any of us can do. As Vexlin walked away, James appeared at her elbow. Making friends already? Trying to, Sarah said. He'll be on our team for the survival scenario. Good. We'll need his brains. I saw the preliminary terrain options, they're not going easy on us. James pulled up his datapad, showing topographical maps of lethal environments. Acid swamps, ice wastelands, volcanic badlands, toxic jungles. Every one designed to be dangerous for multiple species. Then we'll have to be smart, Sarah said. Use everyone's strengths, protect their weaknesses. Think they're ready to see what humans do when things go wrong? Sarah looked across the hall at the clusters of alien cadets, many of them still stealing nervous glances at the humans. She thought about everything her species had survived: ice ages and plagues, wars and famines, natural disasters and self-inflicted catastrophes. Humans had walked through fire and come out singing. I don't think they have a choice, she said. Ready or not, they're about to learn why you don't give up on a species that laughs while bleeding. That night, in the human quarters, all 20 human cadets gathered for an informal meeting. They sat in a circle on the floor, a human habit that made use of their comfort with Earth-standard gravity, sharing ration cubes, which they'd collectively determined tasted like sadness and cardboard, and discussing the day. My team assignment includes a Phosian, Marcus Webb said, his London accent coloring his concern. Beings made of light energy. How the hell do I provide medical support to something that doesn't have a body in the traditional sense? You learn, Yuki said simply. That's why we're here. I've got a Telnari on my team, insectoid species with compound eyes and exoskeleton. Their physiology is so different from human that I'm basically starting from scratch. Anyone else notice how they cluster together? Asked Elena Rodriguez, a pilot from Madrid. We try to integrate, but they keep gravitating back to their own species. Can you blame them? Sarah said. We're the monsters in their closet. Everything they've been taught says Deathworlders are dangerous, unpredictable, violent. We have to prove otherwise through actions, not words. Actions like surviving scenarios designed to kill us? James asked with dark humor. Exactly like that, Sarah confirmed. They need to see that human resilience isn't just about being tough. It's about being reliable. About not abandoning teammates. About finding solutions when logic says there aren't any. Dr. Tanaka nodded thoughtfully. During my demonstration today, I saw something interesting in the alien cadets' reactions. When I ate the ration cube, they were shocked. But after that shock came curiosity. They started asking questions. What else can humans eat? How do our digestive systems work? What about our sense of taste? Same with Vexlin, Sarah added. He was terrified, but he approached me anyway. He asked questions. That's the bridge we need to build, from fear to curiosity to understanding. And if they never get past the fear, asked David Kim, an engineer from Seoul. Sarah was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then we complete the training, prove ourselves through competence, and hope that time and familiarity do the rest. We can't force acceptance. We can only be the best versions of ourselves and let them draw their own conclusions. Very diplomatic, James said with a grin. This why they made you lieutenant? No, they made me lieutenant because I'm good at keeping reckless idiots like you alive, Sarah shot back, but her smile took the sting out of it. The group laughed, genuine, human laughter that echoed through their quarters. It was a sound the facility had probably never heard before, and Sarah wondered if any aliens were listening, trying to understand what made humans express joy through that particular sound. "All right," she said, bringing the group back to focus. "Survival scenario starts in 3 days. Until then, we learn everything we can about our teammate species. Biology, psychology, cultural norms. We figure out how to communicate, how to support each other, how to turn a group of strangers into a functioning unit. Standard team building," Marcus said, "except our teammates are literally aliens." "Best kind of challenge," Elena added with the fearless attitude of someone who'd flown experimental spacecraft through Earth's atmosphere. As the meeting broke up and the humans dispersed to their individual bunks, Sarah found herself at the window, still not sure if it was real or simulated, looking out at the stars. Somewhere among those points of light was Earth, Sol System, home. She'd left behind everyone she'd known to be here, to represent humanity in this grand experiment. The weight of that responsibility sat heavy on her shoulders. But it was a weight she'd trained for, prepared for, chosen. Humans didn't back down from challenges. They faced them head-on, and if they failed, they got back up and tried again. "Penny for your thoughts?" James asked, appearing beside her. "Just thinking about why we're really here," Sarah said. "It's not just about military training or cultural exchange. The Council invited humans because they need us. They've spent thousands of years in relative peace, building civilization in safe, stable environments. But the galaxy is bigger than their controlled space, and eventually they're going to encounter threats they're not equipped to handle. And humans are? We're the species that evolved dodging predators and surviving disasters. We're adaptable, resilient, and too stubborn to know when we're beaten. When the Council faces something truly dangerous, something that requires sacrifice and persistence and irrational courage." She turned to look at him. "They'll call us." James nodded slowly. "We're not here to learn how to be like them. We're here to teach them how to be like us. In a way. Or maybe we're all here to become something new, a combination of human resilience and alien intelligence. The best of all our species working together. That's optimistic." "I'm human," Sarah said with a shrug. "Optimism in the face of impossible odds is kind of our thing." They stood together in comfortable silence, two humans thousands of light years from home, representing a species that had only just begun to understand its place in the cosmic community. Tomorrow they would continue building bridges with beings who barely understood them. Next week they would face challenges designed to test everyone's limits. But tonight, they could rest, secure in the knowledge that whatever came next, they would face it the way humans always had, together, stubborn, and utterly refusing to quit. Outside the window, the stars wheeled slowly past, indifferent to the small dramas of the beings who lived among them. But within the academy, something significant was beginning. Not just the integration of one species into galactic society, but the first tentative steps toward a deeper understanding between species separated by evolution, environment, and experience. The humans were about to teach the galaxy a lesson it wouldn't soon forget, that the species which laughs while bleeding is also the species that will stand between danger and everyone it considers a friend. And once a human decided to protect something, the universe itself had better step aside.